Hello all YouTubers, I'm the Weather Dude. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you for tuning back into this tropical discussion for October 1st, 2020. Before I get on with today's video, however, if you guys want to stay up to date with the latest forecast and best forecast from the Weather Dude, then please, every single one of you that is not subscribed, please click the subscribe and the ring and the notification bell so you guys stay up to date with the latest The Weather Dude content. And also, please watch the whole video. Thank you guys so much, by the way, for 1,000 subscribers. It really does mean a lot to me. And this is taking the next step towards monetization, so please watch the whole video. It really does help out my channel a lot. And also, please give this video a like and share this with your friends. Thank you. Now let's get on with today's video. Well, in yesterday's video, we were talking about one tropical disturbance, and now we have two. At least on the Atlantic side anyway. We have another two on the Pacific, including Hurricane Marie. But in the Atlantic, we now have two tropical systems. One, which, this one that's shaded in red, I'll be talking about more so today. This is Invest 91L. But I will also be mixing into the conversation the other tropical disturbance that is located near the Windward and Leeward Islands. And will be eventually over, you can see how one is moving much faster than the other. Because if you look at the one, 91L, notice how it's going to be developing in this zone over the next 5 days. Well, this system back here is going to be developing here over the next 5 days. So it's going to cover a lot more ground, or water, within the next 5 days than 91L. So I would definitely say that the second system is moving a lot faster. But as for the first one, we do have a 70% chance of development within the next 5 days. And we will get an update on this at 8 p.m. in about 2 hours. But it is a well-defined tropical wave in the Western Caribbean. We're seeing some disorganized showers and storms. And by early week, it might even become a depression or storm. Alright? Like I said, that's only if it moves over Gulf, or stays over water, I should say, because like I said, it's moving pretty slow. Alright? And it's right near land right now. So it's moving slowly towards land. It's hovering right around Yucatan. But if it stays over land, it's not going to develop as much. But don't let that, now, I'm not, like, I want you guys to feel better about this, but don't, just because it's sitting near land, I don't want you guys to, get relieved yet. I don't want you guys to be stressed about this either. But just keep in mind that regardless of development, it's going to be a lot of flash flooding. There still will be some gusty winds, but flash flooding is going to be the main threat with this. And we move over to Yucatan, northern Central America, and heavy rain regardless. Even western Cuba could see some impacts as well. But they'll be seeing more impacts from the second system, which has a 20% chance of development in the next 5 days. Again, just east of the Lesser Antilles, moving 15 to 20 miles per hour or so through the Caribbean here. Alright, and we could see conditions that are conducive for development early week. Alright, so here is 91L. Now, we don't have a page like this for the other system because it's not an invest yet. In order to get all the cool maps, it's going to become an invest first. But the first system, 91L, the one that was shaded in red here, has become an invest, and it does have winds of 30 miles per hour right now and pressure of 1,007 millibars. Alright, so it's slowly but steadily gaining some strength. And if we look at this on the satellite imagery, let me see if I can zoom out. There we go. It looks a lot better. All right, looking at this on the satellite imagery, there's not too much in the way of spin. We are seeing some surface circulation. It's very broad within there, right? But there is definitely a lot of, there's just to me, it's a big area of convection that has the opportunity to strengthen a little bit more. So sea surface temperature anomalies are above average, especially for the storm is sitting right now. And those deeper oranges that we're seeing, that it's pretty much deeper oranges than the rest of the Caribbean. That's where we see a really good concentration, upwards of 1.6 Celsius above average. And like I said in the last video, our sea surface temperatures in the northwestern Caribbean are the warmest they've ever been at 31. And I would even say that in the next shade of pink, they're probably pushing 32 almost, all right, near Central America. So some very, very warm water pushing 90 Fahrenheit, right around 88 or so. All right, now when we look at the current low position, let me zoom in a little bit more for that. Again, seeing right near northern Central America-ish. All right, it's moving its way towards Yucatan. But like I said, it's gonna have a little bit more time over water. It's gonna be spending some time over water. But the question is, does it interact with the Yucatan? If so, how much? That will determine its development in terms of winds. Either way, it's gonna be a lot of rainfall, especially since it's not the fastest moving system in the world. And a lot of the model tracking guides, I've been noticing this with some of the other major models as well, that they track it northwest, all right, making landfall in the northeastern corner of the Yucatan, and getting lashed up with that stalled front that's sitting right about there, and then getting drawn southwest into the Bay of Campeche, and maybe over into Mexico and Central America, and maybe even eventually out in the Pacific after that. but pretty much the models are saying it's going to get hooked up to the front and then moving southwest bound and stalling in the Bay of Campeche. That could be the case as well. Other models, like we take a look at Gfs, a couple of those models transit in Gfs do bring into the Gulf like normal. Some do bring it, most of them do bring it southwest bound, and the black is kind of like the average of what they all show, and pretty much kind of showing a southwest bound. So that's what more of the models are showing. That doesn't mean that's what's going to happen. That just means that's just saying that more models are saying that it could go that way, and maybe it has a better chance to go that way if the models are saying it's going to go that way. But we have to consider all possibilities. All right. So let's go to our intensity guidance. All right, we have our tropical storm force winds. All right, could we get over the next 36 hours? What they're saying then it's kind of iffy after that, because some do make a tropical storm, but they weaken it back into depression and back up to a storm again. And actually, I can see where the models are going with that, because if you look at, where is it? Here. So it could, they're probably saying it could develop into a storm here in this zone, then weaken to a depression once it moves over to Yucatan, and back up to a storm again once it's back over water in the Bay of Campeche. So, all right, I can see where the models are going with that. All right, no model is cuckoo in this scenario. All right, now when we have our ship's diagnostics message here, you can see that the wind shear, that's another thing too. Now, I don't know why this version of the ship's diagnostics message is predicting a lot more shear, because really low, the shear is actually expected to be really low, but especially over the next 36 hours, shear will be next to nothing. All right, and then we got the sea surface temperatures, which are pushing pretty much around 30, 31. We'll be getting that high, and then maybe dropping a little bit, but not too much. As it enters the Bay of Campeche, not much cooler over there. We have a storm speed, which could also slow down from as much as 18 miles an hour all the way down to basically 3 or 4 miles an hour, all right, over the next few days. And heat content is going to be pretty high. Why? Because the storm is in the Caribbean. You should be expecting this. Heat content values are near 80. There's no set max value really, but 80 is very high up on the scale. So keep that in mind. So here's a Gfs model and kind of showing you like the precipitation. But like I said, like I always say, once I show you the cyclone vorticity signature, you'll be able to see where the storm is a lot better. But you can see that at 2 p.m. on October 3rd, just like I was pretty much saying in the last video, we got a storm, a decent storm flowing with very heavy rainfall, reds and purples, on the northeastern corner of the Yucatan. Right, then it kind of just stalls and then just pretty much like sags southward into the Bay of Campeche. There it is right there, right, in the southern corner of the Gulf of Mexico. All right, then it just sits there, and then it really gets its act together. Like I'm talking about rapid intensification, because without getting any more distance, it's already from 1,000 millibars to 981, just like that. All right, by 8 a.m. on October 8th, makes landfall, and then they just gonna have, then just have it dine out over Mexico, and then that's the end of that. So GFS total precipitation, all right, some areas like over the water Gulf of Mexico, talk about even the Mexican coastline and well west of the Yucatan, some areas could pick up more than 10 inches of rainfall. All right, that's gonna be very dangerous. So keep that in mind. The rainfall threat is very high, and maybe even some gusty winds. I'll be showing you the winds too as well, but I just want you guys to know the wind is not going to be the biggest threat with this system. All right, and now that I show you cyclone vorticity signature, I'll show you the other system as well. Hopefully that'll be popping up. So here is the GFS model with the cyclone vorticity signatures. I think because the storm just got recognized by National Hurricane Center pretty recently, it may not appear on the models quite just yet, but it is starting to a little bit. So here's 91L sitting in the Bay of Campeche. There's a storm behind it, all right, kind of tracking more towards Cuba. So these are your two potential cyclones. Then we have 91L strengthening pretty well, all right, and then you have the other system behind that. We'll just say potential 92L. I'm not saying it is 92L, but potential 92L. I think because Invest go from 90L to 99L. When the next one forms after 99L, they just start over back at 90L as many times as they want, right? Invests are different than because with name systems, you don't keep repeating names. You go into the Greek alphabet. But invest, we just keep starting over from 90 as we need it. I think we've been starting over from 90L. We're on 91L. It's like the 4th time, I think, at least. It may even be more than that because we've had like well over probably almost 24 named storms this year. So there's 91L again, and there's, we'll say, potential 92L off the coast, west coast of Florida. Now, in terms of the wind strength, because I know some of you are going to want to know the winds, all right? Now, if you look very closely, around the northeastern corner of Yucatan, you can see some greens, and that does mean tropical storm force winds. Barely, but still classifies as a tropical storm. All right, sitting over the northern Yucatan, But then again, watch as it sags southward, things could get a little bit more interesting. Boom. You can see the reds, and I wouldn't be surprised there's a little bit of purple hidden in there, but a strong tropical storm to say the very least. All right, there we go. Now I see some purples right there, exactly a week out, 8 a.m. on Thursday. I definitely see some purples at this point. So we're talking about pretty much a low Category 1 hurricane for 91L. For the other system, I don't see too much of it, but if you look right there, 2 a.m. on October 6th. Oh, I kind of blocked the entire thing. There it is. Now you guys can see there's a little bit of green in there, and that does indicate tropical storm force wind. So, probability of tropical cyclone genesis. All right, we have, according to the FNMOC, GEM, and European models, all right, 50 to 60% chance of development, which is a pretty high development chance. Now, this is basically the same thing, except the from the initial time, apparently this ends in 12, as you can see here, and the past map ends in 0. But this is kind of like a different version of the map. All right, and this version kind of says, okay, maybe more of a 70 to 80% chance of development with 91L. All right, and the other system. Like 91L and the storm behind it could actually collide. All right, their energy could combine. But if you look, there's 2 more areas maybe to watch. One off the coast of Africa, one well west of the Cabo Verde Islands. As you can see, these 2 areas here. If they do develop, maybe that could be another video. Right? Now, we're going to take a look at the GEM model real quick here. And as you can see, with the GEM model, not much. All right? It's something spinning around. It's almost like the gyre that we see develop sometimes. That Central American gyre that we see develop. It's just like a big area of low pressure. Sits there, spins, dumps a lot of rain, but not much tropical activity is there. I mean, gyres can spawn in a lot of tropical activity, but there you go. GEM model has been doing this the past few runs. They've been very consistent about this. All right, a storm forming in the northeastern Gulf of Mexico in about 8 to 10 days or so. Or a northeastern Gulf landfall here. Gfs has been very consistent about saying, okay, this is going to stall around Mexico and Central America and just die out. But GEM model's really been saying the past few runs, they've been consistent about a different thing, that it could make landfall in the northeastern Gulf, and now we're getting more data in that it could be near the South Carolina or North Carolina, even up to the mid-Atlantic by 8 a.m. on the 11th of October. So cyclonic vorticity signatures, we're just going to skip to about 10 days out because that's when the storm is making its landfall, right? And there's a storm system, right? Clear as day, making landfall and a lot more impressive on the vorticity signature, right, compared to the Gfs model. It's also a lot larger of a system and gets hooked up with the front, maybe even picked up by the jet stream a little bit, and there's a lot of atmospheric energy. So this system is definitely going to be one to watch. And looking at the winds, because again, I'm sure you guys are dying to know those sustained winds potential, right? Winds could get pretty strong, all right, but they're not predicting a hurricane, surprisingly. The storm looks like a hurricane when you look at it on the vorticity or the radar, but actually it's just a strong tropical storm, it appears. Now, I shouldn't say just because we know this hurricane season's been very extreme, so it doesn't take much to cause a lot of damage. All right, there's been so many, tropical system landfalls, but I know that if you guys were to, if there was a hurricane coming your way and you were like, would you rather have a Category 1 hurricane or a strong tropical storm? I'm sure you guys would say strong tropical storm, right? It's not quite as bad. So hopefully it's suppressed to a tropical storm, not a hurricane, because that would be just utterly devastating. But nonetheless, at least a tropical storm, all right, from the looks of the models as of right now. GFS has something developing within a few days. GEM model has something maybe emerging in 10 days, maybe both systems combined. It's going to be a totally different system. All right, but 91L and the other system are 2 systems to definitely keep our eye on. So thank you guys for watching today's video. I'm the Weather Dude, signing off. Till next time, stay awesome, guys, and I will catch you guys in the next video.